It's not great. Hello and welcome to New World Review. I am Grandline Waifu and I'm doing everything I can not to talk about your soul or beanies because I've been told not to discuss your soul or beanies. It's banned content, but it's fine because I can enthrall you in other ways. Like a special guest. Let's give a hand to Hisoka, who has kindly offered to join us for a very brief interview. So, Soki. Can I call you Soki? Thanks, Soki. Now, I hear you love to give a thumbs up or thumbs down depending on your level of enjoyment. Sorry, that's my mistake. I hear you love to give a thumb up or down depending on how much you like an experience you're having. Now, I'd like you to give a thumb up or down in response to the following words. Cards. Dismemberment. Gone. Hisoka, please put your thumb down. That's inappropriate. Soki, please. I'm sorry, everyone. We're going to have to dive into discussing the episodes because Soki's being a little inappropriate. Soki, get out from under the bed and pull yourself together, man. Episode 30. There will be spoilers. There have been spoilers. There will continue to be spoilers. Now, the first thing that must be said is that the opening of this episode was really quite beautiful. We had the simplicity and the cool calmness of the boys learning how to use nen. But the smoky calmness and the use of the art in a semblance of incense was a really lovely way to give us a reminder of what they've learned. Learning that Ten could also slow the effects of aging is a new piece of information too. It's nice to have a solid objective reason for the ash effect when we get 10 years down the line and neither Gon nor Killua have aged at all. They've hardened their bodies and given themselves a shroud, as it were, against the effects of the world. Did anyone warn them that would happen before they started studying? That they would likely look like children forever because they're using a mystical power you shouldn't use until you've finished maturing into a full human being? It's like how when Puck was about 6 months old, the vet said, nah, let him keep his nuts for now so he can fill out. The vet doesn't sound like that at all. Anyway, he used to look like this. Now he looks like this. See the difference in majesticism? And now these kids are going to be halted and misunderstood for the rest of their lives. The energy of this first battle was quite enjoyable. It was like being back in a Pokemon stadium, except our main character was Pikachu instead of Ash. The heavy strings and bass giving way to silence is a musical theme we've seen several times, and it was used to great effect in the fight. The return of the beat as Gon thought through the idea and the victorious strings and brass were bouncy too. We as an audience could have been forgiven for thinking he would be fine, especially since the last episode suggested he couldn't do anything. Basically, Gon was put up against a strategist, a boring one. I was glad he said it himself because the strategy of make everything spin and spin myself was in fact boring, but the outcome of it was to put the emphasis back on Gon and his problem solving. Gon did not make himself any friends with this episode. In fact, we found he has 2 nursemaids, Killua and Wing. I found it interesting that Wing came in and said exactly what Killua said, and I love the balancing act between Gon and Killua. There's a real delicate friendship between them. Gon coming to rescue Killua because Killua is his friend but didn't know it, and Killua becoming a mother hen around Gon. Their relationship is, despite their sociopathy and neutrality to the rest of society, really touching to watch. They're like a Thelma and Louise of the anime world, taking over one place at a time, except for wherever Hisoka is, though Hisoka really seems to want them to win. Which is another thing in my crusade for beanie-wearing Hisoka to have his own spin-off series. Why is it that he has such a deep interest in Gon? Why has he placed so much attention on grooming and harvesting, collecting, killing Gon? Why not Killua? Killua is there and more obviously ripe for the picking. He's a better target, he's the same age, and though he hasn't finished learning, he may be worth more in terms of actual worth than Gon. Killua himself has rated his abilities as closer to Hisoka than Gon, so it seems strange that Hisoka shows no interest at all in the boy. And we as an audience get no chance to see how Killua would have gone in a fight because Killua, to be fair to him, did the responsible thing and has decided to train first before jumping into the ring. Finally, an adult is taking the oddness of Gon seriously. The sheer sociopathic danger that Gon gives the world has finally been noticed by someone relatively normal. If we can call Chicken Wing normal. Yes, his shirt is untucked and we're spending a lot of time making him look unassuming, but he knows how to use renenenenenen, which means he probably has a reason to learn to use it. Had a reason to learn to use it. Help me, grammar. And someone who thought he should learn. He has access to the 200th floor and he knows how Guido fights. I mean, anyone can watch, but that's my point. I do wonder what route he took. how he defeated Guido. Maybe we'll find out one day. But no, he's not entirely normal. He is, however, the most well-adjusted adult we've seen in the series so far, so we have to let it slide. He had the response to Gon trying out a fight that we really would hope a grown-up would have. A responsible, normal, not you, Hisoka, adult human would think, no, please, child, you do not have the appropriate training, nor do you have appropriate PPE. Do not, I repeat, do not go out into the ring to fight against a man who is better with small toys than you. And beyond that, when he heard that Gon went into the ring to continue his training, Chicken had that even better reaction. Why the would he think that's a good idea? And we saw him prancing around like he was in a shampoo commercial. Did no one else think that was weird? He figured out the solution, and his decision, his grand plan, was to just suddenly have the urge to herbal with spinning tops of doom. Not only did he engage in a sociopathic level of calm in a situation that required, in my humble opinion, a complete freak out for at least a moment, but he did it for fun and learning. I mean, to a degree, I get it. I'm a doctoral student. I have to understand the masochistic enjoyment of engaging in a life or death battle for an outcome that's not going to be as good as you think it will be just because, but still. Kurapika. Such a coincidence that you are undergoing the same training as Gon and Killua. Would you look at that? If Leorio doesn't do the same, it's going to be very awkward when they're all seeing things he does not. Let's hope we find out about Leorio's experience in episode 31. Episode 31. Of course Gon is okay and Killua is as shocked as the rest of us. Except we aren't shocked, are we? Because we know that Gon isn't human as much as we know that Killua is in fact some kind of rat life form. Gon repairs quickly. If he didn't, he couldn't do all the reckless things he does that make him cool or really terrifyingly dangerous. Again, Wing understands or is beginning to understand that the real danger isn't Killua, it's Gon. Killua's a sociopath, but he's a sociopath with boundaries that he actually uses and enforces. Gon is a sociopath who doesn't really know what boundaries are. For the first time, he's got someone who is enforcing them for him, and he's sticking to them. I have no doubt that Gon will in fact do as Wing says, for as long as it works for him. As soon as he has a stronger handle on his renenen, there will go all of Wing's control over him. And Wing was absolutely right to tell him not to study, because Wing can see that if Gon sees how Nen is used, Gon will then use the Nen. The tiny string on Gon's finger became a very highlighted factor of all of Gon's appearances in this episode, and I found I really appreciated the importance of promises, because the physical representation of promise is absolutely necessary for a character like Gon. We've seen how he reacts when he's just asked not to do something. Promise or not, Killua would do what he wants and try to skirt the rules if they didn't suit him. As he said an episode or two ago, if Wing doesn't train them, they'll learn about it anyway, and he knows that. Gon obeys rules when it's important to a goal. He would have exactly the same knowledge as Killua. They're going to learn this thing that exists whether Wing wants them to or not. But Gon sees something in Wing's treatment. Exploitation comes in many different forms. Gon wants what Wing has, and he's not going to fight for it if he'll just get it by waiting for a bit. Speaking of waiting for a bit, Gon would have loved to sit in a bush for the fight that he actively turned the television off for. It's interesting that Gon misses this battle, because I think missing it is going to very much become a plot point down the road. As to who he's missing, my love, Hisoka has returned, and it seems he may have competition. You're going to have to bear with me here, because things may get out of hand. It would appear that Hisoka will have his hands full with this new dashing man who has disarmed us all with his charming smile and behavior outside the ring. His interaction with Killua and the fact that he so easily managed to catch the boy off guard, especially Killua, who has shown he has supernatural perception and maturity for his age. As someone who can stand up to Killua's abilities, it quickly proved, without getting into a combat scenario with Killua, that he does have the ability to take on Hisoka mano-a-mano. By the end of the episode, there was a concern that perhaps a wind would slip through Hisoka's fingers. Such an experience would have been a one-of-a-kind tale that Gon would have had to learn from Killua secondhand, but I highly doubt that the handy double Kastro has will actually continue to get his dirty mitts on Hisoka. Still, it was delicious seeing Kastro actually managing to get some hits in on Hisoka. You have to hand it to him though, actually cutting off Hisoka's right arm was incredible. I wonder at this point whether Hisoka's going to reach the goal of defeating not this time, those were feet, his opponent. But maybe he has a plan up his sleeve because frankly, he doesn't have an arm there. Hey. Or at least not now. Notably, his arm didn't bleed and he doesn't seem to be too concerned. Whether that's a Hisoka special or no, I'm unsure, but there's no harm in charmingly trying to farm alarm in a man full of smarm. It doesn't seem to me at this point that anyone in this show besides Leorio is actually human. Leorio very much seems human with human ways, but seeing all the hunters we have to now and seeing the intensity of the power flowing through them, I do wonder whether there are different species here. I mean, Kurapika's eyes turn red like rubies as a thing. Killua turns into a rat and kills people for a living as a small child. Gon heals far too quickly. Wing just instinctively makes me narrow my eyes, and even little Zushi concerns me when it comes to how much of a beating he can take without being broken to pieces. There's only so much practice you can get of falling, and only so many times you can cough up blood before you've got someone with the knowledge of basic anatomy saying there's something going on here with these individual physical abilities, all things considered. I understand that this is most certainly fictional, and I most certainly understand that people can be superhuman but still human in anime. It's just that up until now, the conceit has been that the people involved in the Hunter exam were human, and now we're very much leaving that idea behind. The longer we don't see Leorio, that becomes even more of a consideration. I suppose we'll see in time to come whether that is in fact the case, but for now, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. There's this thing here that you might want to click, this other thing over here that you might want to click. Maybe click a thing below if you like this video. Share, like, subscribe, that's what the cool kids say. Check out the Discord and make sure you acquire a beanie because it's required costuming for this series. Goodbye.